Good
Record.
morning, everyone. I have an old friend, meaning old friend, that means she's not old. That means I haven't seen her in a long time, who is made a name for herself ever since she moved out of Sacramento. But we'll talk about that. She called herself Shiva Latina, but this is Giana Montoya, ladies and gentlemen.
Hi, everyone.
How are you, honey? How are you?
Good. I just want to make sure can you hear me good and
Yeah, I
everything?
can hear you good. You look good here. You're in the center of the camera. That's pretty
Awesome.
good. And I like that sign behind your. Uh...
Behind every successful woman is herself.
I love it.
Damn
I love
straight.
it. You know, last time I saw you was at the Calgary BKS, right?
When I saw you, I literally felt like I just wanted to like collapse in your arms because I was just so happy to see
In a while, isn't it? Yeah.
Friendly, familiar face that reminds me of some of those magical moments in San Francisco doing the thing.
That's why I invited you to the Mambo Expo, but you weren't going to make it because you were going to go to Greece.
Well, now nobody's going to Greece. Now no one's going anywhere.
No one is going after all.
Well, I'm just glad because it gives me more time to put together my solo.
Good. Because right now, I think solo is everything. Yeah, there is that partner, there's that team, but when it comes to what's happening now in the world, talking about COVID and social distancing and everything, a lot of people are marketing themselves, whether they're in Instagram or TikTok, just a solo dance, which is pretty much effective. I've noticed that in your page on Facebook in the past month, you were doing some yoga, which is very effective because not too many dancers in our industry do yoga as good because yeah, they claim they do yoga, right? But they can't really perform the techniques or whatever.
Well, I actually own my own yoga studio. Yeah. Between me and my dad, we own the Shiva Yoga Shala here in Fort Myers, and we have been in business for 5 years now as a full service yoga studio 7 days a week. Yeah. I've been practicing yoga since I was 16 years old, but I got started in it kind of the reverse way that most people do. A lot of people start, with the asanas or the poses, but I had a guru at a very young age, 15, 16 years old, that took me on as a student. And so I started with meditation, reading sacred text. I mean, I was reading the Bhagavad Gita at 16 years old, the Yoga Sutras. And honestly, I had no idea what gift I was being given. And then the physical practice showed up later as a dance major at Loyola Marymount. And then
you got your degree there in that school, right?
It's kind of a long story.
Certification or whatever.
So I got assaulted in Los Angeles.
What? Okay.
Yeah, I don't think you know that.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I got assaulted in Los Angeles, and I pretty much left LA.
Sexually assaulted?
Physically assaulted.
Physically assaulted. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. And he happened to be my dance partner at the time. Yeah.
So the dancing never ceased to amaze me.
It never ceases. So that's a story I have yet to tell and will at some point. I'm still healing from it.
Knowing you going through trials and tribulation, and you got triumphs also. What's your core value? How come you're still moving forward? Like, a lot of people when they experience this, they act like a loser or woe is me, and you'll never hear from them again. But you are kicking, you're alive and kicking and still going. What's your secret?
I experienced I grew up with a very mentally ill mom. So I was used to having to push forward from a very early age. I also traveled a lot. I grew up in Japan. I spent a year and a half.
Japanese?
My dad speaks them fluently. I have videos of me like talking when I'm little, and now I can like speak to 10. I mean, I'm totally useless. but my heart is in Japan. My heart is with Japanese people. That is where I feel at home, and that's the food I like and everything. So so I've had to adapt, and I've had to grow a lot, and I've had to deal with adversity from a very early age. And, you know, I have to say, I always say, thank you, Mom. Yeah. You know, she's passed on now, but, you know, she gave me the tools to
What did she have? Did she have a depression or bipolar?
She was bipolar, borderline personality disorder, and then at the end, schizophrenic. But like I always tell people, like, everyone goes, oh, bipolar. I'm like, no, the bipolar is not a big deal. The bipolar, when she was having her manic episodes, I would get more animals. She would take me to the pet store. Yeah. My dad would come home and I have an iguana. He's like, ah, shit, you know? And then when she was depressed, she would stay in bed, stay out of my hair. So it was fine. But the borderline is what was the most cruel. And it was that cruelty that, you know, is the most damaging to a person. And so that, plus I have an incredible father, who he's my rock. And I've always, for whatever reason, the universe has guided me towards the spiritual path, which is my yoga, which is my yoga practice.
Is that your form of meditation nowadays?
Yes. I mean, I've been a meditator since I was 15, 16 years old. Obviously I grew up Catholic, and
that's like a form of prayer, you know.
Yeah, I grew up Catholic, and so I've definitely gone through a spiritual journey, and I would definitely say that yoga is my way of connecting to source, to God, to the universe, and I'm very grateful. If I didn't have that, I don't know where I would be.
How do you start students that are just beginning yoga? I mean, they've never done yoga before. They show up at your studio. Do you give them a limited amount of posture techniques, or what?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's you teach beginner yoga. You teach beginner yoga. So obviously the postures are tailored towards the beginner that doesn't know their body as well. So, you know, it's kind of like, how do you teach a beginner dancer? You know, you don't teach with the full body movement. You teach one step at a time, and it grows and it refines as they get in deeper understanding of their own bodies and their own awareness.
Okay, I'm gonna ask you something that's gonna put you in the spot. Okay, you had several partners. Okay.
Yes.
I don't know if this is gonna be good if you were to rate them from 1 to 5. I don't know if this is gonna be good. Oh my God. Oh, okay, no, only positive. Only positive. Or your most memorable. That is. What's your most memorable with Enrique Harquin?
Do I rate him?
No, don't rate him. He's going to be listening, and he's going to be posting.
Oh no, good, because he fucking knows it. At the time, he got a 1 or a 0, but now I give him a 5.
I mean, the dude, right? I mean, he really transformed himself into something else, like what he was supposed to be, really, if you think about it.
That's what he was supposed to be. I mean, honestly, I think of any partnership that I really learned about who I was as a creator, as a dancer, as an entertainer, as a choreographer. I learned the most from him, both of what worked and what didn't work. Obviously, you usually learn the most from what didn't work, or I really learned a lot about myself, about what happens when I give away my power, or I give away my voice.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because the most success that we had is when I was active in the choreographic process. And then the times that I took myself out of it, or I said, you can do it, or I'll just be the follow in the back, that's when everything tended to fall apart. So, you know, being with Kike really allowed me to remind myself for the future that I would always assert myself. And that's how I developed what I wanted to be as a choreographer. I wanted to tell stories.
I have to tell you, technique-wise, in both of your heyday, your match. I mean, you're good match, because Kike, okay, there are dancers in the Bay Area, as you know, because you grew up in the Bay Area. The lead, doesn't have the swag that Kike have. It's a different swag, if you think about it, right?
Him and I were well matched.
Yes,
and
really.
We were very well matched, and honestly, I look back at most of my partners and I literally want to erase it from my memory. And I never want to think, I mean, for most of my routines, I can't even look at, to be honest. I'm just,
I mean, okay. Well, when you look back at your routines, okay, because there are a lot of them, of course, the one that's really stands out is the Lucy and Lucy whatever choreography, okay?
Yeah.
Looking back at it, do you regret any technique or movements you've done? It's like, oh, I can't believe I did that.
Well, no, I don't get disgusted from my dancing because I know that it's the next stage, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, and the way that I am with my choreographies, I never stop working on it. I think the only routine, I never stop evolving it. The only routine I think I ever said it's done is the Lucy routine.
Yes, that was perfect.
Yeah, that's the only one that I was like, it's perfect. It's done.
And the second one I say is the yoga routine that you guys did too.
Yeah, yeah.
The memorable thing for me is the very first choreography you and Kike did.
The tango one.
Yeah, the thing is, the cuteness about that choreography, okay, is you made the reaction and the movement more extreme, like you trying to exaggerate in purpose just to entertain the audience, which was unique. It's like, okay, you know.
Well, you know, that was when I first realized I wanted to be a storyteller.
Yes.
I didn't just want to dance. I didn't just want to do 50 spins just because I can. I didn't want to just, you know, make something pretty just because it's pretty. I want to tell a story. I needed to have a theme. I needed to have a character. And I think that's what comes from my acting background. That's what I was a double major, theater and dance.
I think that's the key though, Gianna. I think that's the key because when I look at all of your work and in the way you had chemistry with your partners and the way you looked at them, I always wonder, is like, is she doing that for real? She's just acting.
You know, I have to say, like, especially with the yoga routine, that was a very emotional routine because there's some things, I mean, with yoga, you can't fake it.
No, you can't.
And you can't fake the practice. You can't fake the heart. And for me, like, that was a way of bringing yoga into a more creative space, merging my own personal spiritual practice with a more performance art. And I mean, I had to make sure I was in a space of love, with myself, with my partner, and I had that was not faked. Look, there were some days with Kike that, like, I literally wanted to kill him, and I still had to be cute.
That happens in partnership.
I think with many times with me and Kike, I think we both wanted to kill each other. No, mostly me wanted to kill him. But I think we acted through that one pretty good.
Good. And now, obviously, with your partnership with Neri, that's the partnership, I would say, the business partnership that really made you guys made a name for both of yourself, or even individual for that matter. I know you guys broke up, so without getting into details, all I want to know is, what have you learned from that partnership, both positive and negative, looking back at it now?
I learned the warning signs and the red flags for what a narcissist is, and a sociopathic narcissist is. Definitely. I mean, I have pretty much dedicated a big part of my life now to narcissist abuse awareness. I think that's the biggest thing. Now I know the red flags, and they were all over the page. And I just went, I want to dance.
I suppose you kept ignoring at that time because, you know, the show must go on, and there's a business that you need to maintain, right?
Well, and I was in love, you know.
That's true too.
But I really, I should have never gotten to that. There were red flags up to before anything ever got started. And so I think that would be the biggest thing.
I mean, personally, let me ask you this question. Are you an independent woman and not dependent on relationships? You're okay if you're alone, right?
Now I am 100%.
Oh, okay, I got you. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, now life is bliss by yourself.
No obligations, no added responsibilities.
No, it's not that. I mean, because I multitask very well. I love nurturing. I love taking care.
Oh, yeah, you're a Cancer. I know that. Yeah.
I'm a Cancer. I love building with somebody. I love growing with somebody, but only if that person is deserving.
Sure.
I started taking gymnastics after, because I was like, okay, well, this is something I've always wanted to do. I am getting older, and when that perfect partner comes along, which I believe he's coming to me, when that perfect partner comes along, that could be another year, 2 years.
Sure.
And
don't put a time limit on that, by the way. Don't put a time limit on that. Yeah.
And by that time, I mean, it's already been a year and a half, and by that time, I'm going to be older. I won't be flipped up in the air. And fear sets in. The older that you get, your gravity is saying, no, 2 feet need to stay on the floor, So I started doing gymnastics, and she went through a bunch of things with me about asking about what my skills are. Can you do a one-handed cartwheel? Oh, yeah, I can, but with a partner. I've done that with a partner. And can you do this? Yes, I've done that with a partner. And this and that with a partner. And, every single thing that I've done that she asked me about my skills were with a partner. And she just stopped. Shannon, my coach, Shannon from Gymnastic World, what? And she goes, you know what, Gianna, your legs are your new partner. And it stopped me. I mean, I just got chills right now. It stopped me in my tracks. I wrote it in big letters on my refrigerator. It's like, no, my legs, myself, this is all I need. I can get the height, I can flip, I can do everything from my own 2 legs. And this is what I have to rely on now. And there was such an empowerment.
I told you that in TO, that you could do it by yourself and you're good enough and you got great talent. You don't need anyone else. I told you that. You probably was drunk, you don't remember.
Yeah. And so for me, no, now I feel so strong within myself.
Good.
And I'm constantly building my skills so that when I get to dance with a partner again, I don't have to get ready. We're going to be ready to go.
What do you think is the most peak moment with you and Neri as far as your partnership is concerned, whether you were at festival or not, where you both agreed, it's like, damn, we're now on the top?
I honestly can't think of one moment that I would want to think about with him. to be perfectly honest, I honestly, I can't look at our routines.
Okay.
Because I can't even stomach seeing him.
You still can't view them on YouTube because they're very popular, Okay.
It's okay. I mean, I wish they were gone from the face of this earth, even though that would erase all 10 years. Yeah. Even though that would erase 10 years of my life. I mean, I want to refilm all of my old pieces with amazing guys. Like, I've already casted it out. I know who I want to be my new Ricky.
Okay, like, did you hear that, gentlemen? He's available
yes,
for.
No, I want to refilm all of those pieces and refilm them with men and partners that are deserving and are more talented. Honestly.
All right. So the next partner is, I know this is short-lived, Eddie Torres.
Yes.
Now, how did that come about? Did he approach you, or you approach him, or what?
Well, so we were going to have our 10-year anniversary event.
Yeah.
Over here in Fort Myers, and he was going to come, and I think he was going to bring a solo. I don't exactly remember exactly how it happened, but I think my ex did have something to do with it, in that he was like, well, you should just ask him if you can perform with him.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, no. No one asks the king.
The king of mambo?
The king of mambo. Nobody asks such a thing.
Yeah.
And yeah, and so and I actually think that he did. I think that he.
How was that, dude? I mean, did it take you guys a
he
while to create a choreography, or it was quick?
So he facilitated the thing, that like the meeting, like, hey, could Gianna do this or something?
Yeah.
Or I wrote the letter or something, and then he was like, oh, that's a great idea.
Right.
He's like, I would love to. I actually have a funny story, because the reason that I wasn't comfortable with asking him is one time we were in Charlotte, North Carolina at an event.
Yeah.
And I had just cut my hair really short. Remember, I used to have my hair.
The old Gianna, yeah.
The old Gianna, like orange, short, half of my side was shaved.
Yeah.
It was like a totally different look. And when Eddie saw me, oh my God, like he just looked like the saddest man. Like he was so sad and disappointed, because you know he loves long hair.
Right.
And so I was just messing with him. I was like, so Eddie, now that I have my hair, I was like, so now that I have my hair cut short, I could never be your partner, right? He's like, that's correct. He did not even mince words.
He's a funny guy.
My haircut was like not okay with him in that moment. And so years and years later, I asked him about that moment. I was like, do you remember that you said that to me? He just cracked up. He's like, I do not remember that, but that is so funny. But so anyways, he sent me the video. It was of him and Shani Telmore dancing, and the routine that he sent me was my favorite piece of his. And I was so excited. I was like, oh my God, I get to dance this dance. And I am so bad about learning something from a video.
Really?
Oh yeah, I have a really hard time flipping it in my brain. You know, I would need to work person to person, and the video doesn't work well with me. And so that was very difficult to learn it that way.
Yeah.
And I had to learn it with all of the nuances. I had to like become Shani. Because I think she originated that choreography. So I wanted to do it with, because I wanted to do it with her vibe. And Eddie had scheduled, when he came to Fort Myers, he scheduled a 2-hour rehearsal for the two of us. And he goes, okay, do it. And he sat in the front and he pushed play.
Are you serious? That's intimidating, man.
And I mean, it was fear. I mean, it was like no audition could be scarier.
Yeah.
And I did it, and he was like, okay. And now you and I are going to choreograph the entrance and the exit.
Okay.
And that I think he thought that I would not be ready. And I think that he thought that I would need a lot of work. And basically he's like, and now we can talk for the next hour and a half.
That's good.
And he told stories, and his wife Maria was so awesome. She said that my bra needed more bling, and she took it and she Eddie Torres out the bosom, and she rhinestoned in my little panties. And they made me feel like part of the family. Now I am part of the family, and it was really amazing. And I mean Eddie Torres is a masterclass of professionalism.
Yeah, but the thing that's impressive is that you learned that choreography, even though you have a hard time, learning choreography from a video, but you learned it, and it didn't take really that much for, it was just a matter of developing an intro and outro in that choreography. Do you think because you have a good foundation in dancing that a choreography can be learned in a quick manner than any other people?
Oh yeah. I mean I have a gift. I have a gift for choreography and also retaining choreography.
Right.
It is a skill, I'm sure that when I was younger and I was taking a ton of class, this is why I tell people, like, if you want to get better at something, you just take class, because you kind of sharpen that part of your brain and your body somatically. And Yeah, and I think more than anything is that when you're trained and you have technique, the thing that you are able to do more than anything is pick up details. And details is really what really makes the choreography. And so like, I'm pretty good at imitating people. Remember when we all used to do that after HSF?
We used to do it with Luis Aguilar and all of
with
this
Luis
motherfuckers.
and Kike and all that. You know, and really it's about being able to pick up nuance.
Yeah.
And being able to put on that character and get into that. What do you need for that particular moment? And I think that's what I'm good at.
So now, in this nowadays, even before the pandemic, I know it's a pandemic now, which sucks, but are you guys on phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, or you're doing the classes already?
So it's so funny that you talked about going solo. Florida, like in the last week, has basically just been like, I'm over it. Like everyone is just like, whatever. I think the pandemic's done now. I think we're done with this. It's frustrating kind of
Yeah.
Because it's like we went through so much hell and there's really no leadership. I mean, worldwide or United States or otherwise.
Yeah.
I don't think it's appropriate, or do I feel comfortable yet teaching partner classes, even with a mask.
I see.
I mean, there's some morons over here in Fort Myers that have been doing socials without masks since June.
Yeah, I don't think that until the vaccine and it gets distributed to everyone, then
exactly, and
the
so
confidence will live again.
So what I'm doing is I'm basically restructuring everything for the next at least 3 months till the end of the year. I'm teaching mostly solo-based classes.
Well, you got a lot to teach there. Lady styling, yoga, you name it.
Exactly. Well, the yoga studio is its own thing that operates on its own.
And you have your own consistent clientele there, right?
I have 2 studios. I have like a 4,000 plus square foot event center and dance studio, and then I have my yoga studio. They happen to be 2 doors down from each other.
Oh, nice.
In the same plaza. So I just walk back and forth all day long. But I put on my dance hat, I put on my yoga hat, dance hat, yoga hat. So I go back and forth. But yeah, so I'm going to be teaching like Latin mix, like footwork classes that are kind of fusion style. A sexy heels class. I'm going to teach.
Those are good. Those are popular right now.
Yeah, I'm going to teach a Latin body movement and technique class. Good. I'm going to do a salsa kids class. So, and I'm doing my lady styling team again. So yeah, like I'm getting back into it, but I don't feel right doing partnering yet. Mm-hmm. So at least till the end of the year, I get to experiment with something new. You know.
Good. I mean, hopefully next year we'll restart the dance business industry again in its fullest. We'll see. I mean, I'm having doubts about it. Maybe during summertime it'll be fully implemented, but I doubt it on the first months of 2021.
It's so hard because everyone is just doing their own thing. It's like everyone does what they think is right, and there's no leadership or no governing body that's kind of getting us all on the same page.
Well, the problem with what's happening right now, particularly in the United States, is that everyone has their own opinion, and whether the experts agree or not, they always have a different view, and the leaders can't agree on one thing, and so therefore the Americans are confused. They don't know who to listen to, and so some of us who has common sense, like, hell, I'm not going out, why am I going to put myself through that,
I know, and so it's been really hard, for the last 5 months. We've been pretty much totally closed up. I tried to open up for 3 weeks in June, and then we had this massive spike here in Florida. So then I shut everything back down. And so at least with this, where I'll be doing mostly solo classes, regardless of spikes going up and down, it's not going to matter, because I don't like to be inconsistent. I hate starting something and then stopping it and then starting it again. So I'm excited about the direction that I've decided to take, which I think gives us a chance to be consistent.
So personally for you, whether it's yoga or for dancing, do you need to consistently train on your own?
Yes, I have a rule for myself, and the rule, when I don't follow my rule, I get really down and really depressed because
Do you notice any different if you don't follow the rule? Let's say you take off for about a week. Do you notice any different in your technique or movements?
Well, my rule is for every for every class I teach, I have to take a class.
Got it. Okay.
You know what I mean? It's that I have to keep putting back what I give out.
Got it.
And
Got it.
so
Yeah.
like there'll be times where I'm teaching and teaching and teaching and teaching, and I'm not putting back. I'm not taking time for my own practice. I'm not taking time for my own dancing. I'm not taking time for my own self. And I start to get really depressed. I start to feel like I am not worthy of giving this information because I am not investing within myself as well. So for me, it doesn't have to be a yoga class. It doesn't have to be a dance class. It could be gymnastics. It could be, you know, just as long as I'm putting something back in where I'm learning, where I'm going outside of my comfort zone so I can stay empathetic to my students that are coming in and always going out of their comfort zone. I just, for some reason, that balance works for me.
Can you do somersault now?
Somersault? Bitch, I can do an aerial.
It's a gymnastic, dude.
Huh? Well, I
I
mean, I went into gymnastics with 3 goals. I wanted a one-handed cartwheel, really, really comfortable. Because I did a one-handed cartwheel in the Lucy routine, but the way that we did it with the hands, I was always struggling with it. I choreographed it, so it's on me. It's my bad.
Right.
But I didn't know. I was like, well, I think it's gonna work here. But so I always felt like I couldn't do a one-handed cartwheel. Well, then she was like, well, you were doing it from the wrong direction. So I was like, makes
That's
sense.
the reason, yeah.
So I wanted a one-handed cartwheel, a front, and a back walk over. And I pretty much knocked those out like within the first 3 lessons. And then she's like, okay, so now you're gonna do aerials.
Okay, so did you do aerials?
No, oh yeah, it's on my Instagram. I have my first aerial.
Wait, okay, because the reason I asked that is that what the hell is your thought process while you're doing it? Are you praying that you're gonna land properly or what?
Well, that's the great thing about gymnastics facilities is that there's lots of crash pads.
Right.
There's the springy soft floor. You know, but I mean, you know, as I'm 35, you know, any little thing could break me.
You're still young. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, honestly, it's with anything, whether you're dancing or whatever. If you have a great coach, they're not going to ask you to do something unless you're ready for it.
True.
And I really, really trust my coach. And I have a very good sense about my coaches that I choose in whatever I'm doing. And so, yeah, Shannon guided me and I'm like, no, I'm not ready. She's like, I wouldn't have you do it if you're not. Do it.
What's the, as a follower, let's say, because I know you lead too, but as a follower, what do you think is the secret of a follower who could follow everyone, including beginners? What do you think is that ingredient that the follower needs to have to be able to adapt to everyone's lead?
Has to be sensitive to energy.
Mm-hmm.
And I also think has to be in the present moment. Because I think a lot of followers get into trouble when they're trying to outthink their partner.
So when you say sensitive to energy, is it the closeness, or do you read their shoulders, or just the connection between the hands and whatnot?
Yeah, connection between the hands. I mean, I know this freaking word gets thrown around so much and I hate it, but empath, you know, everyone's like, I'm an empath. Bitch, you're not an empath. So some people really are, but I really am.
And do you have to really, I know that, do you have to look at your partner to even sense the lead? Because I'm saying you can't predict, you shouldn't be predicting, right? But do you have to look at
I always tell my students, I look at the box of their body from their shoulders to their hips, because their head can lie, but
True.
their body tells the truth.
True. Yeah.
And so, so that's really what I focus on when I'm dancing. But I mean, I can feel somebody's energy through their hands. Sometimes I'll shake somebody's hand and I feel like I can throw up, or I feel like I'm gonna get sick, or I can feel overwhelming joy and love.
Okay. Yeah.
You know, I have been wrong. I have learned that narcissists lie so much that they believe their own lies, where it's almost like that they can have a lie detector. They can almost pass a lie detector test within their own bodies.
Right.
And I've been wrong many times. This is why I am so much about repatterning for myself.
Right.
My attraction to narcissists, or understanding it so well that I can read the signs with or without being empathic, with or without being able to feel energies, because I can still get thrown off. I see. Especially, so for me, like sensing energy, because that energy kind of shows you the range that they're going to take you on when you're dancing with them. Now, what do you expect in that trend of thought, right? What do you expect from a leader as they follow? What do you compassion? Discuss that. What do you mean by that? Just an awareness that I'm a human being. Plain and simple. You know, the awareness that I'm a human being, and that my body carries a history. Got it. You know, I've had my rotator cuff torn more times than I can count. Yeah. You know, and this is a very sensitive spot because it's not healed, obviously. Yeah. Are you telling me, oh, okay, let's do this. How many percentage of the quote unquote pros lead actually are really good leaders? Because you've been everywhere. Maybe 5. That sucks, man. That is so sad, which is true, because when I watch them, just followers are getting yanked or bumped. What the hell? It's terrible. I don't enjoy social dancing anymore. Yeah, because there are so many bad leads there. I mean, but you know, the crazy thing is, my favorite social dancer in the world is we danced together in Morocco, but he's from Paris. Reda. Oh, really? Reda is my world's favorite social dancer. Really? He is. Oh, he's such. Why? Oh, he's like everything that I fell in love with dancing in the first place. He understands the music so well. It's as if he like knew my body. Like, he knew everything. We could vibe. We had fun. I mean, I tend to be kind of serious when I'm dancing salsa. You know, I kind of have that resting bitch face sometimes. Right. But like, his energy was so amazing. I was just beaming like the whole time. Yeah. It was fun. It was fun. It was connected to the music, connected to each other's bodies. It was wonderful. And he's a awesome person too. So yeah, I love dancing with him. And then there's some beginners, like really beginners, like no 3 steps and maybe a crossbody lead. But like there's one guy that I danced with at the Orlando Congress, and the way that he approached me was like, he was like, can I please dance with you? And it was just with this, it wasn't scared. It was just this openness and this sweetness. Like, he understood who I was, and he wanted this opportunity, and he was going to appreciate it. And honestly, I had the best freaking time with that sweet guy. We danced a basic, a right turn, another basic, a side basic. And honestly, to this day, that's the dance I remember. Yeah, I think that when it comes to authenticity, right, beginners are very special because there's no filter there. I mean,
they're dancing with you in all honesty with their soul and
Yes.
vulnerability, you know.
Yes.
So, which is so cool because you remember Eugene, right? Korean dude.
Oh,
Eugene, right?
yeah.
Fucking Eugene, man. The
Eugene.
dude, every time he dances with women, it's only 5 moves. Only 5 moves. Yet most of these women are saying, I love dancing with Eugene. And it's like, why? I keep wondering that when I was just a beginner. I was like, no, it's just the way he leads and it's just the way he treats his partner. No injuries, whatever. And that brings me back to the beginners putting quality moves, the only moves they know. Yet now, when they become, let's say, intermediate, which I think the most dangerous stage of learning, okay? Advanced, beginner, I give them that. But intermediate, that's when they all think they're all advanced, but and injure people. But when they get to be intermediate, they're trying to impress not only everyone around them, but impress the follower without with disregarding proper techniques thereby.
Ego creeps in so fast. I mean, it's like I think it's the worst virus.
It is.
It takes a sweet, wonderful person and turns them into everybody else.
And you know the reason for that, we're from old school, okay? We don't get a lot of praises, especially when we make a mistake or whether we suck in social dancing or not. They're just going to keep quiet. Nowadays in social media, you see a lot of bad techniques they're getting praises, which is a false confidence, false praise to a point that their ego is up there and they think they're pros. And guess what? They drop somebody in the dance floor, they yank somebody's shoulder, you know, whatever, right?
Yeah. I mean, it goes back to narcissism. I mean, honestly, the most frustrating part about narcissism is not the narcissist themselves. Cause it's like, you know who that person is, you know how they think, you know how they operate. It's like, all right, it's the people around them, where in the narcissism community, they call it the flying monkeys. It's like they are the worst. It's just everybody that just strokes their ego and enables these people to really become monsters.
Yeah. So let me ask you this. After that breakup, you know you're going to be on your own. I know your father will always be there and all of that stuff. So career-wise, what was your thought process? And how did you, because I know you got out of that and you even became stronger.
Yeah. It was so hard.
Of course, just the first year, yeah.
I mean, even now, I mean, when COVID hit, I have to say I was grateful.
Yeah.
Because I didn't get a chance to, I mean, all of a sudden I'm left with this rent of $5,000 a month.
Shit, yeah.
This massive studio.
Yeah.
On top of it, you know, he put out this Instagram or Facebook Live thing that was, many things were untrue, that painted a very untrue narrative of the events. And that's what happens, narcissism. Mm-hmm. It's like, okay, you know, but as a result, I lost over 3/4 of my business, you know, which was a gift because I got all those students out, all those students that I honestly am grateful that they're gone because now I get to rebuild with the people that I want to teach.
Right.
And, but I mean, it was so hard. I had to rebuild from nothing. I had to rebuild from nothing and rebuild while I was grieving and rebuild while I was trying to set up a house. I mean, I've only lived one place for 10 years. I mean, you know, I moved from Sacramento to be with that person.
Yeah.
You know, and I've only lived in one house. I had all those animals. And I had to find a place because I wasn't going to let him have him. so I, honestly, the thing that last year taught me, or the year and a half taught me, is that the universe has my back. And the universe has all of our back. If we are good people and we have good intentions and we have a pure heart, the universe is going to support you. I found a house for a ridiculous amount of money that is amazing, and that had a fully fenced in backyard. I was able to move my tortoises, my pig, all my dogs. And so I was keeping the business going. Right. Oh, and then on top of it, I had to pretty much learn how to lead at a high level, like overnight.
Yeah.
Because, you know, I was pretty much just relegated to the follower and doing pretty styling things.
Right.
You know, so now I had to be able to command a class, sign everybody in, do the business side, I mean, it was a master class in wearing your big girl panties.
Yeah, in a sense, it was a good training.
It was boot camp. Yeah. It was boot camp. And I kicked and screamed and cried the whole way. But, you know, I had my dad, I have the best friends I could ever wish for. I have a spiritual support system, and then it opened me up to really appreciating like people like you and people that have been in my life and I know have my back, you know, because the thing that was so disgusting is how many people knew about what he was doing behind my back. Yeah. And disrespecting me, disrespecting the relationship, disrespecting my body, putting my health at risk. I mean, it was really scary, you know, and to think that people could smile at me and allow that to go on. It shook my foundation because I could never operate like that. My life, for better or for worse, the thing you know about me is I'm going to be honest.
Well, you're a Cancer. That's just the way it is. You're
you know,
there, dude.
Yeah, honesty is a cornerstone of my life. And then to learn that my life was built on dishonesty was like, and then I'm kind of dishonest in that way because I've been projecting that I'm happy. I've been projecting that I'm in this loving relationship. I've been projecting that we have it all. And to come to find out that we didn't, it was really painful, and I had to just keep going.
What's the so now with that experience and with that past, as you look forward, whether a man is you're going to be able to find a man that you like, what are the traits that you're looking for? Is it just the chemistry? Would you just
would you like me to read you my traits from my journal?
Please. It's just gonna take us like 3 years. Jesus. You actually wrote them down?
Do you know how many, like, honestly, for the universe, you have to be really specific about what you want.
Oh my God, okay.
Rodney.
Give me top 5, please.
Oh, hold on. I have to find it. Because I wrote what I want down.
Well, that's a good thing. You know what you want and you wrote it. That's good.
Okay. I want someone. Okay, guys, are you out there? No, I'm just kidding. Future dance partner.
Guys, don't let that fool you. She may look flirtatious, but she's gonna say no in the end. Don't take that as a compliment.
Well, I have to be honest. I am dating somebody.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I am dating somebody. He's a sweetheart, but he's also getting ready to go to dental school, which is probably out of state, and I'm not really.
You're not exclusive dating, are you?
Oh, I am. When I'm dating somebody, I'm only dating that person. You know me, I'm a Cancer. I'm totally loyal. Sure. Even now, even with everything that's happened, I can't change who I am.
Okay.
You know,
so I am to assume that this 5 list that you're going to tell me is what the guy has.
Mostly. He's working on something.
Asha would be watching this video and she would be laughing her ass off.
Okay, so I want somebody who's curious about. I love curiosity. Curious about me, themselves, life. Curiosity breeds a sense of adventure, spontaneity, creativity, and excitement in so many areas. I want somebody who gets the truth that there are no ordinary moments. Someone who goes out of their way to reflect the ordinary as extraordinary. Somebody who thinks I'm beautiful.
Obviously, jeez. Okay.
Well, I have a thing with pictures. It's like for the last 10 years of my life, I mean, when I'm in love with somebody, it's like I want to reflect to them how beautiful they are to me. So it's like,
Let me ask you this question. I'm going to go psychology on you, okay?
yeah.
Do you think you're beautiful?
Yes.
Do you think you're hot?
Yes.
Okay. That's all I want. It's, when I used to practice, right? Psychology.
Yeah.
I used to be a counselor. I would ask him that because confidence and self-esteem is very important to a woman. And if you don't have that, everything else will fail.
Yeah. I mean, and I, this time in my life of self-exploration has really helped me fall in love with myself even more. I liked myself before. I like that I'm honest. I like that I'm strong, I like that I am authentic. That's the number one thing. It's like for better or worse, I am who I am, and I have always been that way.
Yeah.
I have always loved animals. I have been fighting for animal rights since I was a little child. My dad can tell you.
How old were you when you became a vegan?
So I've been vegetarian since I was 18, but vegan for 6 years.
So, because I know we were having conversations about the difference of that a few days ago. What the hell is the difference?
Well, and actually, the differences is one of the things that kind of kept me away from veganism for so long, because it was so confusing. I was like, what's vegan? What's vegetarian? What's pescatarian? What's ovo-lacto? It was there was all of these freaking words. I was like, does that mean that you eat it or you don't eat it? Like, I was always confused.
Right.
But veganism is actually the easiest. You don't eat anything that had a mom, or anything that comes from anything that had a mom. So I don't eat any animals or their excretions. Their excretions being eggs or dairy. Yeah. And so I was vegetarian the second I turned 18, because all my life I wanted to be vegetarian, but I grew up in a Mexican American household, and you eat what you're put in front of you. My parents learned at a very young age that Thanksgiving was never going to work out for me in my family, because I would yell "murderer" at the top of my lungs, and I made everybody's Thanksgiving very uncomfortable. And so like they knew that they could never have a bird on the table or anywhere in the vicinity. So I couldn't see the animal. That was kind of like the biggest thing for me. Is like, I couldn't see the animal. If you hit it in stuff, all right, I could deal with it. But if I had to see the animal, I would absolutely freak out. But I always knew that the first thing I wanted to do when I turned 18 is take autonomy and have responsibility of what I want and not want to eat. And I knew I didn't want to eat animals. But, you know, vegetarians, this is going to be a kind of a controversial thing, is vegetarians actually cause as much harm as carnivores.
You're going to get a lot of heat for that.
Well, it's because I had to grapple with it. I'm still forgiving myself, because as a vegetarian, you often allow yourself dairy and eggs.
That's true.
And what dairy cows go through, it's like 5 years additional suffering, and then they get slaughtered.
Well, not to mention, this dairy thing is really bad for your health.
Oh,
not well, many people know this, you know. But
I'm gonna argue all of it is bad for your health. All animal products are bad for your health, and you don't need them, because obviously here I am 6 years later thriving, huh?
You remember when USDA used to fucking advertise milk as a fucking good? Come on, man.
They still do it. They still do it. Yeah. But I think it really has to do with the suffering. And here I am as a vegetarian thinking that I'm trying to eliminate animal suffering, when having dairy in my diet was doing the same thing or worse.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? And so as a vegan, and honestly, it really came down to lack of education. I was very, very naive, and I'm thinking I'm a very smart person, but clearly I'm not that smart, because I was like, oh, cows give us their milk freely. and chickens, oh, they just want to give us their eggs. You know, I was thinking in that terms.
All they need to, yeah, I mean, come on.
And then I learned that milk is for baby cows, and and chickens and eggs are not for you. so yeah. And so once I like awoke to that information, it was a very, very short distance from vegetarian to vegan. And my biggest regret in my entire life is that all of my years vegetarian were not vegan years.
Got it. Now,
I do.
I know you have several pets there. Particularly one is a pig, and what's the other one?
I have a pig, I have 3 dogs, and I have giant tortoises.
Okay, now tell me about the tortoises and the pig, their personality. What is it? If you can mention something that most people don't know about this pets, a quality trait that they have. Oh,
well, reptiles in general. I've always, you know, reptile people are weird. That's me. I've always been fascinated with reptiles, lizards, snakes. You know, I love sharks too. I know that's not a reptile, but like I love animals that are just really misunderstood or vilified. Well, my tortoises are amazing. They come up to me, they give me their entire neck all the way up to their shoulder. Okay. And I'm thinking, I'm like, these are prehistoric animals. Yeah. Like this is millions of years of evolution where they built all of their defenses to cover their delicate head. And here they are, they trust me so much to allow me to pet their delicate neck. Wow. Every millions of years of evolution, and they're allowing me that. And honestly, I can't help but feel a sense of grace and appreciation and honor to them. I mean, I mean, in the Asian culture, I mean, tortoises are such a sign of wisdom and longevity. Sure. Yeah. And, you know, honestly, I have like these wise beings outside. And so, yeah, so for me, their wisdom, for me, their sensitivity. I mean, because a lot of people that know reptiles know that they are very sensitive animals.
What's their lifespan?
Well, tortoises are supposed to live to 100 years. Well, the type that I have
really 100
years? Yeah, hopefully they'll outlive me. Wow. So yeah, so I mean, I'll be willing them to.
That's a very big contrast to the pig, right? Because the pig has a short lifespan, right?
Pig has so I have a potbelly pig. She's a rescue. All my animals are rescue except for one of my dogs who I got down the street from my house pretty much. And she is supposed to live about the same lifespan as a dog. Oh,
okay. So 12, 13, 15 years.
Yeah.
Give or take.
Yeah. And she's going to turn 4 on October 1st.
Now, what's her personality like?
I mean, well, you guys can always look up on my Instagram, and I always post things about Charlotte. But Charlotte she's the most, I mean, I've been an animal lover, an animal rescuer since I was little.
Here's a misconception about them. They're pretty smart, aren't they?
I mean, I can't say this around my dogs. So. She's smarter than like all my dogs. Come on.
Oh my God.
Oh yeah. No, I mean, well, so they have the intelligence of a 4-year-old human child.
Wow.
And I think she's smarter than some 4-year-olds that I've met. So, yeah, I mean,
that's right. That's right. I've read an article once about that. Yeah, it's like, wow.
Her and I have full conversations where I talk to her, she answers back. I answer back, and she pauses for the interaction. I know exactly what she's saying. Pigs are amazing because like dogs, they can whine and whimper, you know, they have some vocalization, but really the way that humans mostly understand dogs is through their body language, right? Yes. But with pigs, they vocalize. So it's really impossible to not understand her. because she's talking to you. And the more that you spend time with her, the more you understand what her vocalizations mean. And I mean, which makes what we do to pigs in the industry all the more disgusting because of how amazing they are.
And the only thing they can open up like that is because they trust you, and you know, they open their vulnerability, as opposed to people in general, where they only think of them as food or whatever, and so therefore they're not even going to interact or even bare their soul.
Exactly. I tell people, I say, most people have never spent time with a cow, spent time with a chicken, spent time with a pig. I say, like, you know, give them an hour. You know, it's just like, you know, you can paint all people with a broad brush.
Yeah.
Oh, you know, oh, those are just all those people. But then you sit down with a person and you hear their story, even for 15 minutes, and all of a sudden you see their humanity. You see who they are. That's the same thing with animals. You get to see who they are. Like, I get really upset when people call, oh, you know, when they call an animal an it, you know, I'm like, no, it's a he or a she.
Yeah.
You know, I try to help people reframe the way and the context in which we relate to animals, and the way that animals relate to us, the way we relate to each other. Yeah, it's my dream is to study animal communication.
That would be something else. I mean, there are some people there that are doing that, especially the dog whisperer or whatever, you know.
Well, the dog whisperer, no. The dog whisperer is just using commands and cues. But there's a woman in South Africa named Anna Breitenbach, and she is legit. Like,
what's her name again?
Her name is Anna Breitenbach.
Oh, she has a YouTube channel?
Well, they actually did a documentary on her called The Animal Communicator. You can see it on YouTube. Just look it up. Yeah, and so there's like an hour documentary on her, and I watch that documentary maybe once a week, sometimes twice. It's just it grounds me. It grounds me again in and it gives me hope that people are out there, like, vibrating on this level, that are living. You
have this little farm in your backyard or whatever, in your house, and you have the studio to run and all that. So when promoters invite you to Congress, do you find a babysitter or something, or what?
Well, luckily my dad lives really close. So my dad usually stays at my house, or he goes back and forth. But I've also trained one more person to take. I mean, it's a delicate dance with all the animals.
I bet.
You know, because they all have to eat in different places at different times. Yeah. Some of them have bad teeth, so he has to have his food closed off because he feels the other ones are gonna eat it. It's a mess. But it's a delicate dance. But I mean, you can get it done.
Yeah, I mean, you're living through your true cancer self. You're very nurturing, even with animals. Seriously, dude. I mean, I love that. So
they're amazing. They
have any...
honestly, like, everything I do for them. If I hadn't had my animals, like, I think I just would have died last year, because it was like I had to find a house for them. I had to keep going for them. I wasn't gonna find a house for me. I would have just, like, stayed on my dad's couch for the next 5 years. If it was just me, I would have just, bleh. But
why did you pick Florida? Is it because your former partner lives there, or I mean, from Sacramento to Florida?
Well, yeah, I mean, him and we met at the San Francisco Salsa Congress.
Oh, okay.
That's where we met. And I trusted him more than I should, because he was roommating with my best friend. And so that was like kind of drop my guard and defense pretty early. And then he was like, "You're so amazing. I want to bring you to teach my girls." And he had just broken up with his partner at the time and whatever. So I was like, okay. So I went over to Florida and taught some workshops, and they went really, really well. And then we started a little, and then he brought me back again for that second month. And I stayed for 10 days. And that turned into like, I love you. And and then it was like, okay, are we going to keep doing this? Are we going to do a long distance relationship, or is one of us going to move? And I was at a place in Sacramento, and you know how Sacramento is. It's really amazing, but people get to a certain level and tend to stop growing.
Yeah.
You know, and I felt like there wasn't much more I could do there. You know, I had bigger plans for myself and the people that I wanted to work with. I wanted everybody to just keep
did great.
moving.
I mean, that move for you did great. Your career really shot up to the top.
Yeah, and then so I moved over here to be with him and to partner him. And then when we broke up, you know, my dad asked me, he's like, Gianna, where do you want to go? Do you want to go back to Sacramento? Do you want to go to Phoenix? Yeah. He's like, do you want to go to Thailand and go work with the elephants? Which I do. I really thought long and hard about Thailand. I was like,
really?
Oh yeah. Oh my God. I love Chiang Mai. And I work with the Elephant Nature Park, which is a rehabilitation place for elephants. So I was like, okay, well, what do I do? And then there was just something that was just like, no, like, even though he and other people made me feel, even for the whole 10 years, that I was just a visitor, that I was like, you know, that I didn't really belong, that this was his thing and not mine. I was like, fuck this. I've lived 10 years here. That's a third of my life. I was like, I belong here. You know, like nobody can make me feel like an outsider or an outcast. I'm going to own it.
Yeah.
And I'm going to set down roots. I got full claim of both of my studios that were ours at the time, but now they're mine.
Yeah.
And
do you still get in touch with your old friends in Sacramento?
Yes. Annie is one of my besties. All of my Shiva Latina girls, I love so much. It's so crazy. Since everything went down, I'm getting messages from them. Like, I've gotten so much support from those ladies. And it's more than anything, they just tell me like, I see my teacher again. They're like, I see Gianna again.
Yeah.
And, you know, and for me, that means so much because they know who I was before, you know, and that means a lot to me that I want to continue to make them proud. And I always want them to see me, you know, the teacher that they knew, she was pretty cool. Yeah. and I'm glad that I'm feeling whole again and strong again. And I'm back there.
Yeah. It'd be great if you know, we could organize an event where all of you are going to be there. Kike, you know, just the old school.
That would be wonderful. I mean, honestly,
it's almost impossible to do, to be honest with you, but you never know, right?
If anyone can do it, you can do it.
Oh yeah, I'm a crazy guy. I'm a little crazy. That's the reason. You all know when you met me, I'm a little crazy. It's like, what the hell is he doing with bachata? I still remember the first time I met you. It was in a house party, girl. It was in a house party, and that's also the first time you met Kike.
No, that's not the first time I met Kike.
Oh, shit. Okay. But that's the first time I think I met you in person. It was on a house party on a New Year's Eve. Yeah, and we were all drinking at the patio or something. Somewhere in East Bay. I just don't know where it was. It was such a long time ago.
I know.
I honestly, Kike were 12 and drinking and all of that stuff.
12?
I'm kidding.
Not 12. No, I mean, it was that time was really so magical. I mean, obviously it had its hard moments, and obviously everybody was fighting their own battles and dealing with their own dealing with their own demons. So I can't say everything was sunshine and roses, but at the end of the day, you know, all of the professionals dancing at the time, I can honestly say we all respected each other. Maybe there were like the little bullshit here and there, but
we still do. I mean, the Bay Area is one of the healthiest scene that we have.
Healthy, yeah.
I mean, we're competitors. We compete with each other, whether we're promoters or teachers or performers or team, you know, but at the end of the day, the respect is there, you know.
I mean, it was such a gift, you know, when I left Sacramento, you know, I had maybe 50 girls that were training under me at the time in Sacramento. And I didn't want them to stop dancing just because of me. And some of them were like, I don't want to dance anymore. I only want to dance with you. I'm like, no, 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 no. There's a whole world out there. And there's some great teachers here. So I sat down, and with each of my students, I paired them with a different teacher that would continue to foster and highlight their skills or what they were interested in. I was like, all right, so this girl's had some ballet training and she is like kind of experimental. You know, you go to Ricardo and Tiani, you know, you're really good at Afro-Cuban and you've got great movement, you know, go to Afincao, you know, you want the best technique, you know, you go to John, you know, you want to compete, go to Luis. And how amazing is that? How amazing is that I was able to do that. And honestly, I am just so grateful at that time that I was able to do that.
Really was impressed with our dance scene, particularly in the Bay Area, is that whether you guys are still in the Bay Area or you moved out, you made a name for yourself. I mean, you know, the amount of pros that came or built their foundation in the Bay Area, it's double digits, you know. I mean, there's so many of you guys there. You know, some of them just made a name for himself. Andrew, John, you, Luis Aguilar. I mean, just that, Junior and Emily. I mean, come on, you know. There's like, I'm always proud of the Bay Area because of that. I haven't even mentioned bachata artists yet, you know, Brian, Samantha, and all those people. But it's, I don't know what makes the Bay Area good, but I think what made the Bay Area good, in my opinion, is the openness to learning and the respect that the Bay Area has to just about everyone, whether it's in New York, LA, they learn from everyone, I think, you know, so.
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely a magical time, you know, and I feel so grateful to have been there and be a part of it at the time. And,
you remember when I competed against you in Jack and Jill at the Hot Salsa Friday? Fuck, I was exhausted.
I know.
That competition will kill you.
Man, those Jack and Jills were so crazy.
Didn't you on Orlando won that?
Of course we did. I mean, come on now. No, it was
all the pros participating.
And you know what? I learned so much about my stage persona based on those Jack and Jills.
It's true.
You know,
true.
I learned how to get a crowd, not just the men.
Oh yeah.
But you know, they're easy.
It could have been more perfect with you and Orlando just entertaining the crowd just because of that.
Yeah, you know, but how to include everybody, how to get everybody. I learned how to shift energy in a crowd, and you know, and it was because of those Jack and Jills, you know, really good, because you couldn't get half the crowd, you had to get the whole crowd, and that was cool.
What's the most memorable room parties you've ever had in the Bay Area during Congress?
Room parties?
Yeah.
You know, I don't know. Everyone that knows me, I didn't really do that shit.
You didn't? So you were just partying in the lobby at the dance floor or something, or what?
I was dancing, and then I would go to sleep.
Oh, I was into room parties back in the day, and of course, you know.
No, I honestly, I've never really been into room parties, or I would be competing the next day, so I'd have to get a good night's sleep, or I'd be teaching and I had to look fresh in the morning, you know. I don't like, if I'm in a Congress, I feel like it's my job.
It's a professional thing, yes.
It's a professional thing for me, you know. So like maybe I'll participate in a couple of social drinks, but like I don't drink at an event. Like I'll have some fun with my students when the last show is done, the last workshop is done, I'm off the clock.
Do you hear that, promoters? There you go.
Huh?
It's all about professionalism. That's good.
Yeah, I mean, that's just the way that I've always operated.
Yeah. So
I'm boring.
One last question here. What makes a good teacher, you think?
It's really, so it's so interesting that you say that, because I'm watching Cobra Kai right now.
You're so too late. Just because it appeared on Netflix, you all watch it. I watch all of them on YouTube already.
I know. I'm late to the party, but I'm watching. I just started it, and it's so interesting because it's like, what is too much for some people is the right thing for somebody else, and what's too little for that same person is just the right thing for somebody else. You know, I'm an intense teacher. You know, I'm an intense person. You know, I teach from an authentic place. I teach from who I am. I try to, especially like people that I train on my team, I try to mix it with, you know, get it right with also empathy and kindness. Some people need more kindness. Some people need more, no, you do it 5,000 times or push-ups.
Yeah.
You know, it's so funny because as, you know, learning gymnastics, I've learned that I learn only from negative reinforcement.
Okay.
So it's like when my teacher is like, good, Gianna, yes, good job, I totally screw it up.
Okay.
And then when she's like, and I tell her, I'm like, no, you have to be harder on me. And then when she's like, Gianna, if you don't get this right, 25 push-ups, it's perfect. You know? So I, as I move forward, you know, because honestly, from who I was even 10 years, the last 10 years, I was a certain way as a teacher. I was influenced by having to be a half of somebody else, you know? And so now I get to really almost redefine who I am as a teacher.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of it is sitting down one-on-one with each student and asking them, how do you learn best? You know, what do you need? You know, what do you need me to be? Now, obviously you can't be everything to everyone, but you can have that understanding and that awareness.
I agree with you about this principles, especially. It's very interesting because if you watch the movie Karate Kid and you watch the Cobra Kai, which are very much interrelated, the life lesson there is so precious that I don't know if the kids nowadays picks that up, those life lessons, those principles. Yeah. But everyone is different. Every student is different. This is why when somebody learns from me and just take my every Wednesday class, I don't know them. They don't know me. They just come every Wednesday with a certain particular pattern they learn. But when they actually join my training team, that's a different story because I really get to know them. I get to know what their mission statement is. Where are they coming from? Why are they why are they learning to dance? What happened? You know, this type of thing, you know. So that Karate Kid, that Cobra Kai, each one of those students grew up differently, that they have a purpose in life why they're there, you know.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a different thing, you know. I love who I am as a yoga teacher. I love myself the most as a teacher of yoga, because I really feel like that's the most of who I am.
But it shows in your dancing the gracefulness and all of that stuff.
Thank you. But you know, but I have students that do both with me. I have some students that take me as a yoga teacher and some people that take me as a dancer. And I've had some people go like, why can't you teach dance like you teach yoga? And it's because they're apples and oranges. As a facilitator, as an instructor of yoga, you know, I can give you the flow, but if you choose to sit on your mat for an hour and take a nap, or lay on your mat and cry, or not do what I tell you at all, it's your time.
Do people cry during yoga?
I cry during yoga.
Ooh, why? Tell me.
Well, I mean, so for instance, when everything went to shit last year, I took 2 weeks off from both teaching yoga. I mean, I couldn't get words out, you know, you know, just discovering that,
you're having PTSD at that time.
Yeah. I mean, it's just learning that your life was a lie. I mean, come on now.
But what makes you so emotional during yoga, during those poses, though?
I mean, so much of it is, well, there's twofold. First of all, is that you realize you're in a safe space.
Got it.
Just being in a safe space and you're on your mat, this is your personal time to feel, and you're encouraged to feel. You know, yoga gets you out of your thinking head and into your feeling body. And so, you know, for me, when I went to my mat every day, sometimes twice a day, and here's my students all around me, and this is my studio. And I just got my ass on the mat and I just bawled for an hour. And the thing about the yoga practice is that's really normal. It's normalized. So it's like, nobody's like, Gianna, what's wrong? Everyone just like kind of gave me their energy and gave me their space. So after all of those years of giving to the studio, giving to my students, I received all of it back 20-fold. So there's just something about being in a safe space where you're allowed to feel. And then from a more physical standpoint, you know, especially, you know, our emotions get locked in our bodies.
Yeah.
You know, and so sometimes, especially if you're in a yin pose where you're holding a posture for a long time, you know, you're having that compression on that joint, and we're opening up, you know, the fascia, your emotions just woof, release. And sometimes you don't even know why you're crying.
Yeah.
It's like, it's not like I'm sad about something. it's just this wave. Some people laugh. Yeah. Some people cry.
Interesting.
And it's celebrated, you know? Yeah, it's celebrated because you're releasing it.
Yeah, my impression is the more you release your emotion, the more you get stronger as a person.
Well, vulnerability is strength, you know?
And I think that made you really stronger during these tough times in your life, because I've always known you to express yourself. I've always known you to not suppress your emotions.
Clearly.
Which is a good trait, trust me. And I wish that most women would feel more that way instead of not being authentic. I think that authenticity goes a long way. You become independent, you become self-sufficient, and you became stronger. And that if something ever happens to you again, then your core is there. You're intact, you know.
Well, I actually started, I'm doing goddess gatherings. Yeah, I'm actually trying to turn some of this pain into a really positive thing. Women were part of the reason that my life fell apart. You know, people disrespecting my relationship, disrespecting my body, disrespecting my life, and having no problem with it. Even if they knew I was with somebody. And so for me, I'm healing that by creating a conscious group of women that when they talk about empowerment and when they talk about self-love, they really understand what it means. We're doing that once a week at the yoga studio. Yeah. I facilitate it, and then I also have a guest facilitator. Last time I had a woman that we learned this warrior heart practice. This time I have a grief counselor.
Nice.
And so every month is something different, and I'm really excited to see where it's going to go. Because I mean, really everything for me is about transforming the lessons of my life, you know, especially this past year taught me so much.
You're not the only one. I'm sure there are some women that experience the same thing.
Oh, this is not unique to me. In fact, oh my God, like, I want to shout out Gabby Ekist.
Oh yeah, I love her.
She reached out to me. She has had a narcissist of her own, and everyone knows that story. And she has really almost been a mentor to me.
Good.
Helping guide me. She's like, girl, I had nothing. I had less than nothing. He took everything from me. He took every last student.
Yeah.
And to see where she's at today, I mean, honestly, she's been one of my biggest inspirations.
I'm aware of that transition where Gabby went to now, which to me as a woman,
yes, you are. Woman energy, so fierce.
Very impressive and very inspiring, you know.
Yeah, and she's really kind of held my hand
Good.
in a lot of ways through all of this, and so I'm very grateful to her and many other women that have also helped me. Yeah.
All right. With that in mind, honey, where can they find you if they want a private lessons, your studio, website, blah blah blah?
So my Instagram is at Shiva Latina, SHIVA Latina.
Right. Where the hell did you get that name? Why Shiva?
So my yoga academy is the Shiva Yoga Shala. So Shiva is the Hindu god of dance.
Oh, okay.
Especially if he's depicted as the lord of the dance and Nataraj, because there's many different incarnations of Shiva, but Shiva is actually the destroyer. So there's the creator, the maintainer, and the destroyer, Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva, and Shiva is the destroyer, but specifically destroying the ego.
I got it.
And you know, in my life has been these constant destructive moments that allow for new life and new outlook. As you can kind of see, this is what this conversation has been about.
I love the name. It's pretty unique. Okay,
yeah,
so Shiva Latina
it came to me through
Instagram. What
meditation,
else?
huh?
Shiva Latina Instagram. What else?
Yep, I have Giana Montoya dancer on Facebook. That's like my fan page. I'm Giana Montoya on Facebook. My website is www.elegantrumba.com. Yes, all of our yoga classes are also live streamed. So I have people from all over the United States that take yoga practice with me. We have 5 classes. We have over 5 classes a day sometimes. And every single one of our in-studio classes are also live streamed. Nice. And they're very affordable, like between $4 and $6.
Yeah.
For a yoga practice.
So
and
when you do this online, is it a Zoom type of a platform?
So we actually have our own proprietary branded.
Interesting. Platform. Excuse me.
No, it's all because of my dad. My dad is both a genius and he's an innovator, and he got right on it, and he didn't want to use Zoom like everyone else, clearly. And so we got our own platform made. And that website.
I almost forgot. Your dad wrote a book.
Yes.
What was it?
It's called The Magic Megaphone. I don't even think it's in print anymore. I think the last copy sold.
Oh, really?
I think I honestly think the last copy sold from Amazon. Wow. And I don't think he wants to like shell out the money and reprint it and all of that stuff. But it's a project management book, and it's a process that he came up with as an executive of 27 years at Intel. And I mean, we use that every single company meeting. We use the process, and it gets everybody on the same page. So yeah, my dad's a genius, and so our yoga website is www.theshivayogashala.com.
There you go, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, my dear. It's been great chatting with you. Hopefully, we can hang out again, and if that happens, probably be in the Bay Area in one of the festivals. Who knows? We'll see, right?
I know. Well, by that time, I'll have my solo done.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you like this content, make sure you click like. And if you haven't subscribed at this podcast, just click subscribe on the right side. And if you want to see more of Gianna, just search her on YouTube. She's got so many great work there, and you already know all of the.
I don't want anybody to look at any of my work on YouTube right now. I want to refilm it all.
Doesn't want you.
I want to refilm all of my content with new partners.
We'll see, honey. You did great work, nevertheless. Okay.
Well, I am proud of my choreography, and that was one of the things that I made sure I kept control of, is that my choreography is my choreography, and I look forward to continue to develop it.
Good.
So the work is never done. All
right. Well, you have a good one, and I'll see you soon. Okay.
I love you. I love you all, guys. Thank you for watching.
All right.